Hey guys, it's Mikexingchen. Some people believe in a higher power that controls all things and all beings existing in the universe, and in celestial and supernatural creatures like angels and demons, possessing abilities beyond our capacities and understanding. And among them, there are those who have attempted or are continuing to make contact and interact with whatever or whoever lies on the other side. In fact, during the 16th century, it was believed that if one could speak with angels, one gains the ability to directly interact with them, just like these guys. That's why it is not surprising that the concept of an angelic language was quite common during this time. One such language that was introduced during the 12th century was the mysterious Enochian language, which was allegedly discovered by occultist John Dee and Edward Kelly. So who are these angel language discovering people? John Dee, who lived from 1527 until 1609, was an occultist, mathematician, astronomer, and astrologer who lived in Mortlake, West London. Dee was an extremely well-educated and respected intellectual during his time. He graduated from the elite St. John's College in Cambridge and was renowned for his intelligence and wit. Eventually, he was accepted into influential circles of the ruling elite and served as scientific advisor and confidant to Queen Elizabeth I. He is also associated with coining the phrase British Empire. During the early part of his life, Dee had little interest in the supernatural. However, he eventually got bored with science and turned his attention to the occult and magic. Dee wanted to discover lost spiritual knowledge and recover the wisdom he believed was hidden in books of antiquity. Among these books was the then fabled Book of Enoch, which he thought contained a description of the magic system used by the patriarch Enoch in the Bible. In 1581, Dee began performing a long series of magical research. Earlier that year, at the age of 54, he had written in his journal that God had sent good angels to communicate directly with human beings, and so he has set himself up to make contact with these angels. Now, if you want to contact angels, it's kind of difficult. It's not like you can just text them or call them. And Dee thought his problem was that he was not a medium, and so he had no ability to see the other side. Therefore, he set out to find a gifted medium that would help him in his attempts to make contact with, Castiel. It was in 1582 that Dee met Edward Kelly, a little-known son of an apothecary who claimed to be a gifted medium and was very passionate about the occult. And so the two created a partnership and began conducting sessions together to establish contact with the angels. Almost immediately, they claimed to have established spiritual contact, and in their hundreds of sessions from 1582 until 1587, they allegedly communicated regularly with these angels. During these spiritual sessions, Dee would act as the orator and supplicant. He would direct prayers to God and his archangels, and then he would invoke them to manifest themselves in a scrying stone, which is a black obsidian mirror. Kelly, on the other hand, would act as the scryer. His job was to see the visions projected in the mirror and describe them to Dee so he could write them down. For several years, the two managed to record several supernatural visions, incantations, and even prophecies. In the year 1582 or 1583, John Dee and Edward Kelly claimed to have received communication from angels who allegedly provided them with the foundations of a language which they can use to communicate with the other side. The mysterious angelic language had its own alphabet, grammar, and syntax, which they recorded in their journals. The new language was called Enochian, which springs from John Dee's assertion that the biblical patriarch Enoch was the last human to know the language. But Dee preferred to call it angelical, the celestial speak, the first language of God Christ, and particularly Adamical, because he claimed it was the language spoken by Adam in the Garden of Eden in naming all of God's creatures. According to Dee and Kelly, these angelic beings they communicated with told them that being able to speak the language would unlock the doors to unlimited knowledge, wisdom, and power. The language is believed to be helpful in executing the 19 Enochian calls, a series of incantations which could supposedly summon powerful celestial beings. Now, according to Dee, Enochian is a language composed of a 21-letter alphabet. The Enochian script is written from right to left left, and it may also include diacritical marks. The alphabet is used in the practice of Enochian magic on angelical or Enochian keys. There are two different versions of the Enochian alphabet, with one script slightly different from the other. The first version is contained in Dee's manuscript, the first 5 books of the mysteries. The second version, which is the more widely accepted version, is from Liber Logaeth and is said to be based on Kelly's original drawings. The Liber Logaeth contained the initial messages received by Kelly during his visions and contact with the angels. The book consists of 49 great letter tables or squares made of 49 by 49 letters, and is said to be the first corpus of text in the purported angelic language. However, Dee and Kelly said the angels never translated the texts in this book. The other set of Enochian texts were received through Kelly around a year later. This time, the texts came with English translations and has therefore provided a basis for the Enochian vocabulary. The texts contain 48 poetic verses, which Dee called in his manuscripts as claves angelicae or angelic keys. Each key are assigned a specific function within the magical system, and Dee was apparently planning to use them to open the 49 gates of wisdom or understanding represented by the 49 magical squares in Liber Logaeth. Although these texts contained most of the vocabulary of the Enochian language, dozens of other words were found hidden in these journals, while thousands of undefined words are found in the Liber Logaeth. Now, if a couple guys walk up to you and said they've been communicating with angels and they now have the angelic language, you might think they're a bit crazy. So of course, Dee and Kelly had their fair share of critics. In the 16th and 17th centuries, Enochian was widely considered to be not the language of angels, but the language of demons. This belief arose from the anti-Christian doctrines that the angels have supposedly told Dee and Kelly. For example, the angels that supposedly spoke with the two occultists denied the godship of Jesus by telling them that nobody should pray to or through Jesus. They also discredited the existence of the Holy Ghost. Such claims shook the foundations of Christianity, which caused some people to conclude that the good angels that Dee and Kelly contacted were actually demons. People that followed the Christian faith were not the only ones who questioned the authenticity of Enochian. Linguists and scholars had a twofold basis for their skepticism over the language. First was Edward Kelly's questionable character, since he had previously been jailed for forgery, so it was not impossible that the supposed angelic language that they discovered was just another one of his fabrications. The second was the fact that the so-called prophecies proclaimed by the angels they supposedly spoke with did not materialize. For example, the angels prophesied that Dee would be tried for treason, but in real life, that never happened. Enochian has also been extensively analyzed by modern linguists, both enthusiasts and skeptics alike. However, until now, the results from any linguistic analysis have yet to be 100% conclusive. Believers have asserted that Enochian is the oldest language in the world that predates all human languages. In some circles, the language is also considered among the most powerful strings of magic, and is also a method of contacting beings from other dimensions. Detractors and skeptics, on the other hand, have pointed out that the syntax of Enochian bears a strong similarity to the English language, which is Dee and Kelly's natural language. For example, the word Lucifercius, a Enochian term that translates to brightness, bears a connection to Lucifer, whose name translates to Lightbringer. Also, computer analysis have reportedly shown Enochian to share a grammatical relationship to English. So in conclusion, although the authenticity of Enochian as the language of angels remains heavily disputed until now, its current impact in our religious and spiritual communities cannot be denied. Even in modern times, where science and technology is accepted by many to be the real key that will unlock the secrets of the universe, there are still many believers of the Enochian language's supernatural association and magical powers. And I want to talk about the language of gods, angels, and maybe creatures from other dimensions for a second here, because when I was doing research for this video, I came across a lot of Eastern beliefs, a lot of Buddhist beliefs, that the hand gestures that you see in a lot of portraits of the Buddha, and sometimes you might have seen them in performances or dances. In Buddhism, it is believed that these aren't just random hand gestures. The gestures are actually how the Buddhists communicate. What I'm trying to say is, I don't know if Enochian is really the language of the angels. I mean, Sam and Dean never learned it, and they're communicating with Castiel just fine. But I do believe that all supernatural creatures, or even holy entities, they do have their ways of communication. And maybe it's not even as common or primitive as using your words, your voice to communicate. Maybe it's something completely telepathic. I have no idea. And also, speaking of mediums and seeing into other dimensions, I did a video about the third eye that we all have, that many people and many religions believe allows humans to see into other dimensions. So if you want to check check out that video, click the link right there. And if you guys like this video about the Enochian language, please hit that thumbs up button. I would really appreciate it. Thank you all so much for watching. See you later.